Now, may I request Sri Balbir Punj, the author and speaker for this evening, to talk about his book. No time limit for you, sir. Okay.
Thank you, Chandrasekhar ji. He said very generously, no time limit for you. I am reminded of a function which I attended about 2 decades back in Chandigarh. It was 12:30 and the program didn't mention how much time I had. So before starting on the mic, I asked the organizer, sir, how long can I talk or speak? He said, sir, you can speak as long as you want, but we will break for lunch exactly at 1 o'clock. When I was planning to come to Hyderabad for this function and working out details with Srinivas ji on phone, and the date was still not decided. So one of my friends who belongs to our school of thought, he asked me, Balbir ji, I believe you are going to Hyderabad. I don't know, we are deciding on a program. He said, then have you fixed up with Hanuman Chaudhary ji to meet? I said, no, but I will definitely meet him. He said, the program is not decided. You are not fixed with him. How are you sure that you will meet Hanuman Chaudhary ji? I said, भाई, राम जी की बात हो रही है, हनुमान कैसे नहीं आएंगे? हनुमान जी की बात हो रही है, तो Hanuman ji to inevitably stands up, and don't know in this audience who is Hanuman ji. Of course, Hanuman ji Chaudhary is here. Then we had Arvind Rao ji, a former DGP of Police, United Andhra. But more than that, his introduction should include, he is the author of Indic Religions, Challenges for Survival. He presented me with a copy when I came to the function. I scanned through it. It's a very useful book, and we must compliment for him for this book. Thank you, Rajesh Kumar ji, then of course Srinivas ji, and Mr. Raghu, and friends. Hanuman ji has already set a precedent. No good evening, no namaste, राम राम. बोलने पे बड़ा पुण्य मिलता है. राम राम. Now, this book was written in 4 months. And even if you offer me a ton of money and want to commission me to write such a book in 4 months, I will say no, because it's impossible to write such a book in 4 months. Time is more than 400 pages. As Hanuman Chaudhary ji and Arvind Rao ji certified, it's a very well researched book. It's not something what you can say born out just of emotions. It's strictly based on facts and arguments. This was possible only because Ramji wanted me to write the book. There is no other way I could have written it. It was just Ramji motivating me. And those days, in fact, I was supposed to visit London, where my younger daughter lives. We had got the tickets. The program was made for a month. That program was given goodbye. No birthdays, no marriage anniversaries, no parties, no dinners, which were a very essential part of Delhi's useless social life. day and night Ramji and his book. But when I say so, if you find any error in the book, and there may be, don't blame me Ramji for that, blame me for that. I mean it. See, this book, when I was searching for it, I must have read about 50 books in English. I mentioned quite a few in the beginning, about 7, 8 of them, which try to give the correct perspective about the problem. Most of the books written in English, maybe over 40, which I have read, and maybe even more, they make about 3, 4 points. Number 1, Ramji is a fictitious character. है ही नहीं, एविडेंस क्या है? Where is the birth certificate? And how do you prove that Rama was born at the very right place? Produce the revenue records of Maharaja Dashrath that he had a palace there. Number 2, these RSS and BJP, they are gundas. They stole away a mosque and forced a temple on that. That is the second lie. And third, that it was not a movement by the movement for reclamation of Ram Janmabhoomi was not a movement by the civil society, but was inspired totally by RSS for a political agenda. And Rama is a North Indian concept. It has nothing to do with the rest of the country. Now these are all either half truths or total white lies. If you happen to go through this book, you will realize that truth is something else. Now, starting with 1, it was not a Hindu-Muslim problem at all in post-independence era. Mark these words. It was not a Hindu-Muslim problem at all in the post-independent India. It was a problem between Indians who loved India, who felt proud of India, and those who had colonized minds. 1947, till 1947, we were ruled by aliens for almost 1,000 years. 800 years of Muslim rule, 200 years approximately British rule. We were ruled by aliens from 15th August 1947 till very recently. We were ruled by alienated. We moved from the rule of aliens to the rule of alienated. They did not understand India. The movement to reclaim Ram Janmabhoomi started in a way, rather restarted after independence, when on 23rd December 1949, mysteriously, Ram Lalla appeared in what was called the Ram Janmabhoomi or the Babri structure. Manifested. So, it was 23rd December 1949. Now what happens next? The first witness of what Hanuman Chaudhary ji called a manifestation, and he will like to call it a manifestation, is not a Hindu. It is a Muslim. and his name is Abdul Barkat. He is a head constable in United Provinces Police. UP, Uttar Pradesh was known as United Provinces at that time. He was a head constable. He was posted in the police post which was just bang opposite Ram Janambhoomi Babri structure. And the locks broke down because the place was locked. And Ram Lalla had manifested. So he was called by the court later. Abdul Barkat, you are on duty. Please explain how Ram Lalla manifested himself. Kya hua? What he said in the court, I have produced in the book, reproduced in the book. What he said in a sense was that I was on duty. I was keeping watch on the structure. Suddenly, there was a huge luminous light. I started blinking my eyes, but I couldn't face that light. And out of that light, this is what Abdul Barkat tells the court. A divine child of 5-6 years with a glow on his face appeared out of that light. This is not a Hindu making a statement. It is not a RSS or VHP worker making a statement. It is Abdul Barkat, a head constable in the police. When I saw that divine child, I went into a trance. I had to close my eyes. When I reopened my eyes, I see all the locks of the building have broken down. There are hundreds of people, they are singing bhajans. Prakat Kripala. They are singing bhajans. So the first witness is a Muslim. And then, see, no Muslims had said a prayer in that building after a riot in 1934. 1934, Hindus had made a great effort to reclaim. There was a fight. It was British rule. The British government put down the whole, what you can say, effort to reclaim Ram Janambhoomi with a heavy hand. And after that, no prayers were offered. In 1949, the Hindus expected, now that it is our government, we will get it back. It was the, what you can say, the desire of the civil society. I will come to that point later. You must understand also the background. In 1930, nobody talked about a separate Muslim nation. It's only in 1930 that somebody, Muslims, started talking in terms of a separate Muslim nation. But nobody had heard the name Pakistan. In 1933, there was a student Muslim Islam leader from England, Rahmat Ali Khan. He coined the word Pakistan. What year? 1933. And look at the miracle. In 14 years, 1933, 1947, a new country is born. You give them 1/4 of India. 1/4 of India. Forgetting every law, history, geography. And here, after 500 years of struggle, Hindus wanted 2.77 acres of land to build a temple for Ramji. पर वो नहीं मिल सकता. You can give 1/4 of the country in the name of religion, forgetting every law, everything. Somebody can argue, वो तो अंग्रेज ने किया था. That was decision of the British. But that is half truth. Congress had agreed to that decision. A Congress party which could agree to the partition of the country on the basis of religion, I still can't get the answer why they could not manage to give 2.77 acres of land for Ram temple. It was against this background that people in Ayodhya demanded a Ram temple. You will be surprised, brothers and sisters, to know that fact has been hidden. As many as 12 Muslims from Ayodhya, belonging to Ayodhya, they gave affidavit in the court in 1949 and 1950 beginning that this land belongs to Hindus, this place belongs to Hindus. We have absolutely no objection if this place is given to the Hindus to build and develop a Ram temple. So I said in the beginning, it was not a fight between Hindus and Muslims, it was fight between genuine Indians and colonized minds led by Pandit Nehru. Now, what was the scenario in Ayodhya in 1950? The movement to reclaim Ram Janmabhoomi was not led by a RSS or BJP man. It was led by Baba Raghav Das, who was a Congress MLA from there and who was a Gandhian, and he was called Gandhian of Purvanchal. The movement was led by him. He was in turn supported by the Hindu Mahasabha. And he had the support of the local bureaucracy. Hanuman Chaudhary ji mentioned the names of K.K. Nair, ICS, Deputy Commissioner of the area, Gurudat Singh, the city magistrate, local SP, entire public. And Ayodhya was part of United Provinces at that time. The Chief Secretary was Bhagwan Sahai, an ICS officer. He supported the Ram temple. Govind Vallabh Pant, the Chief Minister of the state, supported the demand for Ram temple. Lal Bahadur Shastri, the Home Minister of United Provinces, who later on became the Prime Minister of India, he supported Ram temple. बना क्यों नहीं? सब चाहते थे. Everybody supported it. Still it took 70 years to come up. कौन है? Who is it? Ramlalla manifested itself in Babri structure on December 23, 1949. At that time, the country was facing a huge refugee problem. Kashmir had been attacked by Pakistan. There were so many pressing problems. But the Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru, found time on 26 December 1949, 3 days after that. Ayodhya was a small, sleepy town at that time. He sent a telegram to Govind Vallabh Pant, the Chief Minister, ordering him throughout the Murti, a Vigrah of Ramlalla, and start Islamic prayers, namaz there. It's on record, 26 December 1949. But he was so isolated. He later on, Nehru wrote to C.R. Das, who was the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Later on, I've reproduced that letter in the book, saying that Congress people have changed. मेरी कोई बात ही नहीं सुनता है. He was telling, but the local administration led by K.K. Nair, Chief Minister, they refused to implement his order because it was impractical, unthinkable. So they kept delaying it on one pretext or the other. Nehru was a vindictive man. Later on, he penalized KK Nair and everybody who was connected with the movement. Ram Temple struggle, I won't go into great detail. It continued for 500 years. And there was one Mahant Raghuvar Das, who in 1885 represented to the British government that we have got a place called Ramchabutra and I am the Mahant there. Please allow me to put up a proper temple there. The inspection was done at 3 levels. I have reproduced that entire episode in the book. But I'd like to read out 4 lines to you, which the district judge, Faizabad, Colonel Chamiar, his name was Colonel Chamiar, he said in his judgment, these are 4 lines, in 1886 judgment he said, "It is most unfortunate that a masjid should have been built on land specially held sacred by the Hindus. But as that event occurred 356 years ago, it is too late now to remedy the grievance. All that can be done is to maintain parties to status quo." You know, they were a colonial power. They had come here to rob and rule. It was not their responsibility to undo historical injustices. So one can understand that. But things should have changed when, what you can say, our independence have come. Hanuman Chaudhary was referring to Somnath episode. The details are known. I'd like only to add one point. 12th November 1947, Sardar Patel was in Junagadh. The state had been merged after the army action or police action into Indian Union. It was the first Deepavali of independent India. Sardar Patel announced there that we will rebuild Somnath. He came to Delhi, spoke to Gandhiji. Gandhiji was very happy. Cabinet meeting took place, presided by Prime Minister Nehru. Sardar Patel shared the details. The cabinet headed by Nehru decided not only to rebuild Somnath, but also to finance its rebuilding. Gandhiji said no. Hindu society should do it. A trust was formed under the chairmanship of a cabinet colleague of Nehruji, Kanhaiya Maniklal Munshi, and they started building Somnath with public donations. 30th January 1948, unfortunately Gandhiji was assassinated. 15th December 1950, Sardar Patel died. Now comes out not immoral, a moral sense of Nehru. A moral sense of Nehru. Duplicacy of his character. Till these two stalwarts were alive, he was ready even to finance the rebuilding of Somnath. The moment the two stalwarts died, he showed his true colors and, breaking all protocols, he advises President Rajendra Prasad not to go and inaugurate. Damn it, if it was a decision taken by your own cabinet. If you are so opposed to building of a temple by the government, you should have got to say at that very point of time that I will resign rather than allow a temple from coming up. The man was totally immoral, and that is a harsh historical judgment. Now, and this trend continued. Manmohan Singh government, dominated by a run through remote by Sonia Gandhi, gave a affidavit in Supreme Court in 2007 saying that Ram is a fictitious character and there is no evidence of Ram Setu. Of course, it led to a lot of upset. I remember Dr. Karan Singh was my colleague in Parliament. So he considers himself, considered Lord Ram and that entire tree as his ancestors. He thinks that he is a part of that family tree. So he met me in Parliament after this affidavit has been filed, and he speaks to me in Dogri because I also come from that area. ओ पंडित जी सारे तो पुरखे ही गायब हो गए, सरकार ने कहता सारे पुरखे ही फिक्टिशियस ही गए. My entire family tree has been wiped out by the government. Later on they withdrew. And recently, when Rahul Gandhi was invited to Pran Pratishtha program, he did not go. You know why? There is no safe seat for him at all in this part of the country. Why not? Why not is 55% Islamic, Muslim. So if I go or seen anywhere near Ram Lalla temple, तो मैं जीतूंगा कहाँ से? So he had, the Congress party had to choose between Rahul and Ram, and obviously Congress party will choose Rahul. I have described the situation through a lyric, through a share. तेरे शहर के कारीगर अजीब हैं ये दिल, कांच की मरम्मत करते हैं पत्थर के औजारों से. You try to deal with Nehru's and Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi civilizational issue. I am skipping a good part, but I like to mention a couple of things. See, one of the blunders of history has been overturning of the Shah Bano verdict of 1985. We all know the Shah Bano case, I don't have to repeat it. It was a Supreme Court decision. It was a Supreme Court decision. And Rajiv Gandhi, fortunately, unfortunately, he didn't have any ideological baggage. He was not pro-Hindu, he was not anti-Hindu, he was not pro-Muslim, he was nothing that way, total blank. So he put up his young minister, Arif Muhammad Khan, who is the governor of Kerala, to defend the Supreme Court decision with all the arguments and powers in Parliament. Suddenly found thousands of Muslims were parading streets of various cities of India and very aggressively. So then he started listening to other people that Congress will lose Muslim support. He let down his minister, leveraged his parliamentary majority of 400 MPs and overturned a Supreme Court decision. Now what is the inference from that? Obviously Muslims got a message. If you can be aggressive on the streets, you can bend the system. आप सिस्टम को बदल सकते हो, ब्लैकमेल कर सकते हो. Logic is not needed, majority in parliament is not needed. All you need is aggression on streets, and you can bend the law to your convenience. That hardened their attitude on Ram Janambhoomi. That's the point I'm trying to make. Till 1986, none of them had objected even to all the protocol and worship that was carried out in Baptistan. The entire thing started after this Shah Bano case. And you must be remembering naming of Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses, a book which nobody has read in India. Can you imagine? A book was banned even before it landed on the Indian shores. And that further headed what you can say the Muslim attitude. Now, I was talking about the Babri Masjid. Fact was, this is a wrong word to use, Babri Masjid. Babri structure was not a masjid under the Islamic law and also under the Indian settled law. There is a very famous case. It's called Masjid Shaheed Ganj versus Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, Amritsar case, decided by Lahore High Court in undivided India in 1930. And that judgment of Lahore High Court was upheld by the Privy Council also. And that continues to be a settled law till today, because Supreme Court in its judgment on Ram Janmabhoomi quoted that judgment also. In that judgment, what is said is, I'll just read about 4 lines. When non-Muslim adversely possesses a mosque, that is to say Hindus, the Muslim lose all right in the land and building, including the right to worship. The building cannot maintain the character of a mosque, all rights of the Muslim being thus extinguished, including the right to pray. The person in possession commits no wrong, much less a continuing wrong, by not permitting or refusing the right of the Muslim to pray therein. This is Lahore High Court judgment, this quotation, 1930, upheld by the Privy Council. The basis is that mosque is not equivalent of a Hindu temple. Hindu deity has been recognized as a living person. Mosque is just a prayer hall. And wherever you pray, that can be changed into a prayer hall. Because of this Islamic understanding, gentlemen and ladies, you can Google it, you will find numerous hundreds of cases of demolition of mosques by Islamic countries, particularly by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has demolished hundreds of mosques, some going back to the times of Prophet Muhammad because of developmental activities. Mosque doesn't have that sort of a sanctity. So from 1934, there were no prayers. It was in the possession of Hindus from 1949 onwards. It had ceased to be a mosque, both under the Islamic law and settled, what you can say, the Indian law. Now, was that structure even a mosque? What happened, that famous historian Arnold Toynbee, you can Google his name, well known. He was called by the Government of India, Indian Cultural Relations Society, in 1960 to deliver series of lectures. Arnold Toynbee. Now, what Arnold Toynbee, he gave the example of a church, Eastern Orthodox Christian Cathedral. See, there is a little history involved. Russians had taken over Warsaw for 300 years, 1615 to 1915, almost 300 years. And they had built this huge mosque called a church, Eastern Orthodox Christian Cathedral. Poland managed to get freedom in 1915-16. First thing they did was to pull down that church. They were Christians. But Polish Christian did not consider this Orthodox church as a church, as a place for prayers. They saw it as a symbol of humiliation. And giving this example, Arnold Toynbee in 1960 said, and I'm just quoting 4 lines what he said. He said, Aurangzeb's purpose in building those 3 mosques, 2 in Banaras and 1 in Mathura, was the same intentionally offensive political purpose that moved the Russians to build their Orthodox cathedral in the city center at Warsaw. Those mosques were intended to signify that an Islamic government was reigning supreme even over Hinduism's holiest of holy places. So it was never built as a place of worship. It was a place built to humiliate the Hindus, the Indians. And people talk about demolition of December 6, 1992 as a big crime, constitution खत्म हो गया, गांधी के देश में ऐसा कैसा हो सकता है? I've quoted in my book, Gandhiji was asked a question. If somebody builds a mosque on your land forcibly, what should be done? And Gandhiji answered that question in Young India on 5th February 1925. And I'm just reading 4 lines out of his reply. If A is in possession of his land and someone comes to build some things on it, be it even a mosque, A has the right at the first opportunity of pulling down the structure. Mark these words. This is Gandhiji says. Any building of the shape of a mosque is not a mosque. If A has not will or the capacity to destroy the building, miscalled mosque, he has the right of going to the law court to have the building pulled down. Karsheko ne kya kiya bhai? What did they do on 6th December 1992? Exactly what Gandhiji had advised them in 1925, 5th February 1925. They were following only Gandhiji's instructions. And when this book appeared, few journalist friends, Balbirji, we don't believe Gandhiji could have said it. I said, Gandhiji said, how could he say such a thing? I said, I can't answer that question. How could Gandhiji say such a thing? But he did say such a thing, I can prove to you. Because it is from the collected works of Gandhiji. They landed in my office, looked at the book like this as if I fabricated the book, took photographs and went back shocked and surprised. I think I am overstaying my hospitality. I've almost spoken for almost.
Black monkey.
See, there are endless. What Hanuman Chaudhary ji is mentioning is 1996, Krishan Mohan Pandey, the district judge, who unlocked Ayodhya. You know, when the case came before him, he asked the district administration, under whose orders have you locked this Ram Janmabhoomi? They have no orders. No formal order was ever issued to lock the structure. This was done by local people, local policemen just like that. So he ordered the breaking of the locks because they couldn't find keys to the locks and opening of Ram Janmabhoomi structure. Then Krishan Mohan Pandey, in his autobiography, Voice of Conscience, he says, he mentioned 2 things. One, a monkey was sitting outside the court and top of the court whole of the day when the judgment was passed. People tried to lower him down by offering him bananas and peanuts and things like that, which monkeys will jump, but he just sat there like this. In the evening, K.M. Pandey, the district judge, was accompanied to his house by the city magistrate and SP of the area and district magistrate. When they entered, the same monkey was sitting in his lawn, and K.M. Pandey said, I was shocked. Monkey did namaskar to me and left. See, Abdul Barkat seeing a young boy, Ramdallah, K.M. Pandey like this, there is divinity. Ram is not fictitious. अगर राम fictitious है तो इंडिया है ही नहीं, and we are not there. This country is identified. We draw our sustenance, and this country will live till Ram lives. पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश में राम खत्म हो गया तो वो देश भी खत्म हो गया. With these words, I take leave of you. I can go on speaking, but I don't want to overstay my hospitality. Jai Shri Ram. Just 4 lines I want to read, which I wanted to read, but in my emotions I forgot. Just 4 lines. जो ना पूरा हो उसे अरमान कहते हैं, जो ना पूरा हो उसे अरमान कहते हैं, जो ना बदले उसे ईमान कहते हैं, जो झुके नहीं गिरकर फिर से उठे उसे मेरा हिंदुस्तान कहते हैं.